Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. So at Rise Up in Real Estate, one of the best things we get to do is interview some of our favorite people. And today I genuinely do have one of my favorite friends here. I've got a young man by the name of Bryan Steros. Bryan's got a great story, and I want to introduce him and just dive right in and talk a little bit about what it's like to be Bryan. Bryan, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This is awesome. I really enjoy our time together when we get to do this. We tried one time before. Now we're going to make this a success.
Well, the last one was a success on your end, and it was a bomb on my end. Just for the listeners, we did a Zoom. We tried this on Zoom, and the sound quality wasn't very good, so we're going to redo it. But I think now that we're actually sitting together, you should have seen Bryan's face when he walked in and saw the microphones and the soundboard and everything else. He was like, whoa!
My heart skipped a beat.
He turned around. I've got it all set up in his office, which is the interesting part about it. But Bryan, tell me a little bit about you. Like, you can go back as far as you want to birth. You can go where you're from, what sports you played, whatever. Just what's cool about Bryan.
So I grew up in New Jersey, which a lot of people in this area are from. And I basically went to college in New Jersey. I went to graduate school in New York. And I met my wife actually in New Jersey. We were next door neighbors. Pretty funny, pretty interesting story.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, she was working the New York City Marathon, and I remember knocking on her door and thinking to myself, "Oh my gosh!" Well, at first I thought she was running the New York City Marathon.
Okay.
And so I knocked on her door after the New York City Marathon the next day, thinking she was going to be like fatigued and tired and like exhausted. And she looked great, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she looked great! Like, how do you feel?" And she was like, I'm fine. And I said, well, how did it go? And she started talking about how she was volunteering. Obviously, I wasn't listening one ear and out the other, right?
Yes.
So it turns out she was volunteering and working the New York City Marathon. So that's basically how our relationship started. Is she knocked on my door first, and then I knocked on her door second, and then from then on, it just kind of spiraled.
You're like, if she looks like this after 26 miles, I'm in. You have no limit. You know your limit, right? So this is good. So New York, you don't sound like a New York, New Jersey guy, though. Do you get that? You don't really
it's funny. Like, yeah. I mean, some people are like, I can kind of tell a little bit. When I talk to my family in Long Island, I can definitely tell they're from Long Island. If I talk to someone from South Carolina, maybe North Carolina, I can definitely tell they're from this area. But I don't know. For me, I guess it's just. I guess I don't have an accent.
You worked yourself out of it. I'm from Alabama, and people are like, you don't even have a Southern accent.
That's what it is.
So, I talk so much, I just kind of wore it out, wore the accent out. Tell me about your kids. You got a couple of beautiful kids.
Yeah, thanks. I'm blessed. I got 2 boys, 15 and a half. One's driving, which is, wow, that's pretty interesting when you're sitting next to your son who's like in the driver's seat and you're, just with him and experiencing with him and teaching him. And he's a really good driver, I have to say. He's better than when I was 16. And then my other son, Breed, and by the way, Justin works at McDonald's on 707. He works really hard there 4 days a week, so he's saving up for his own truck.
Oh, nice.
Really cool.
Nice.
And then Braden is going to be 13. And he just likes to cut lawns and play video games and hang out with his friends. So two great, wonderful boys. And then my wife works up in North Myrtle Beach at Touch Med Spa. And she's the facility director there. And she's been there for about 11 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a great spa. For the listeners that don't know, because we actually have some international listeners, which is crazy to me. But we're in the coastal region of South Carolina in the U.S. So the areas he's talking about are all up and down what we call the Grand Strand, Myrtle Beach, Garden City, Pawleys Island, North Myrtle Beach, Atlanta, all these places. So when he's talking about those things, and it is when your teen starts to drive, I remember it with my older two. It's like stay inside in an interior room, almost exactly what you would do at a hurricane. You just go those places when they start driving around. But you've got two, and I like to see posts sometimes of you going to the gym with your boys. I know fitness and nutrition is a big part of your life.
It's big for us, yeah, and I know it is for you too. And it's just been a part of my life for many years. And obviously, I'm a work in progress when it comes to eating. I enjoy eating. I eat all different types of foods. Thankfully, I'm blessed with, genes that allow me to be fairly thin. Otherwise, I'd probably be about 300 pounds. Right. But I also work out about 4 to 5 days a week, and so does my wife, and then my kids join us too. So that's a lot of fun. It's actually a great family experience going to the gym together, even if it's just for 35 minutes at night. We enjoy that.
It's the commitment.
It is.
And you're teaching them a great example by doing that. And your genes will change when you hit 50. You've got good genes now. I thought I didn't have good genes to start with, but they got way worse when I hit 50. I was like, what happened? Metabolism stopped. A lot of things stopped when you turn 50, but you have that to look forward to.
So, there.
We're talking a little bit about real estate today. The name of our podcast, Rise Up in Real Estate. Sometimes we talk real estate, sometimes we don't, but this happens to be your profession. Tell us a little bit about, it hasn't been your lifelong profession. No. When did you get into real estate? And we'll tell a little bit about what you did before.
Yeah, so I was in higher education for about 20 years, and most recently worked at a local university for about 10 of those years. Sadly, when COVID hit in 2020, our department got severely downsized, and sadly, I lost my job as well as several other people from my office. And so when I thought about, what it is that I wanted to do, and I didn't want to move out of the area because we have our parents here, my in-laws here, we have our church and our house. And there's just, so much that we enjoy about this area. Didn't want to move. And so I said to Jamie, I'm like, what do you think about real estate? Because it's something that I've always had an interest in.
Right.
And I've had a number of houses here. We've moved probably 4 or 5 times since we've been here for certain reasons, but what can I do to still build and develop and grow relationships?
Okay. Yep.
And for me, real estate was a natural go-to. So the hardest part, and has been and always will be, I think, is just learning the contracts and learning the laws and learning the intricacies of real estate. The relationship part, I enjoy. I really enjoy that part because I consider myself somewhat of a people person.
Right.
And so I've been able to kind of marry the two together, which has been wonderful.
Yeah, that's neat. You guys listening, you can't pick this up in a 30-minute podcast, but we joke about sometimes talking about people in real estate. If you don't like people, why are you doing it? But there are a lot of people in real estate that don't like people. But the guy sitting across from me today is genuine people person, just a good soul. He does it for that reason. No matter how many times I've asked him over the last couple of years, you've been doing this 2 years, right? About almost 2 years, which is crazy. It seems like just the other day we were eating Mexican going, should I do this? Should I not do this? We shouldn't have eaten Mexican probably, but definitely. So 2 years has flown by, but almost every time we talk, he reverts back to the fact that it's about people.
It is. And when I think back to, I went to Pinnacle Real Estate School.
Yeah.
And I remember it was on Zoom, and we were going throughout the room, or our Zoomcast, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And my instructor was like, going around to each of us, well, why do you want to be a real estate agent? And money, flexibility. And for me, it was the relationship part, because I knew that if I were to enjoy that part, which I do, that the money would come,
right?
Flexibility would be there.
Yeah. So you knew that ahead of time. And have you found it that way? Has that been that way? Do you still?
I still
like people?
For the most part. Yeah, no. You have challenging people. I think a lot of what we do is try to set realistic expectations. Some people don't have that, especially in this type of market. Some people don't have patience in this type of market. Those are just two qualities that you really need to kind of think about. And also, if you're the type of person that processes things, and in this market where you kind of have to really make a decision fairly quickly, you have to pivot a little bit in terms of your personality, right? So I'll tell people, I said, look, if you're the type of personality where you need to really think on things, and I get it, I totally understand. But if this is the house you want, this is the townhouse you want, we got to move forward quick.
Right. And that's not your nature.
Yeah, it definitely, it's not my nature to be as direct. And I feel like I've been more direct in my life now than I've ever been.
Right.
And maybe that's good for some people, and maybe it's not for some others.
Do you enjoy this podcast and you're wondering how you can start your own? Well, you're in luck. We help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in 4 weeks. My name is Haley Murch, and my team and I manage this podcast. I'm a podcast expert who specializes in helping entrepreneurs launch their podcasts. Podcasts are a great way to expand your audience, provide a free resource for your audience, and to grow and monetize your business. We have openings this fall to help entrepreneurs start their podcasts. We would love to help you achieve this goal before the end of the year. Don't keep waiting. The podcast world needs your voice. We also offer support after the launch process to help maintain your podcast, and we do provide other services to current podcasters. If any of this sounds like something you want to do and need support with your podcast journey, please contact me at hello@haleymerch.com, HAILIMURCH.com, or see the links in the show notes to book a call. We cannot wait to help you start your podcast.
Yeah. And how has life as a realtor affected your family? How's it been? Because you told me today, a few minutes ago, you had a cold cut platter for lunch. So you're at home a lot more, probably. Yes. Like, how's it been for the wife and kiddos?
Well, I have extremely supportive wife. So she completely understands, because in my last profession, I had duties where I was working on weekends and nights and traveling a lot. So for me to go into real estate, yes, there is some of that, but I'm able to control that a little bit more than I was in the past. Right. And so when I do need to work a late night, or I do need to do certain things, my family, I have to say, has been really encouraging and supportive overall. I've been very grateful for that part.
Yeah, you've said that all along about your wife from the very beginning, because I think we talked about that on. Because you have to, I ask that question quite frequently, because you don't have the whole team on board. This can be a grind, it can be frustrating, it can be led up and down. It's a lot of emotions, etc. Have either of I know your wife has a successful career, so I can't imagine she would ever have thought about getting into real estate with you. But what about your boys? Have they said, "Hey, I'm never going to do that, Dad," or "I would love to"?
Justin actually my oldest has talked about, if he doesn't do a couple other things, that real estate could be a possibility for him. So, I mean, the thought of he and I working together down the line would be truly exciting. Yeah. I grew up with a couple of different friends that had their dads or moms had businesses in our town. Okay. Dairy Queen being one, a convenience store being another, a car rental place being a third. And so I was always jealous of the fact that, like, my friends could go work with their dads. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So to me, to have that possibly down the road would be really exciting.
That's kind of full circle.
Truly full circle.
That's pretty cool. Now, Dairy Queen would not be a good thing for me to own. Or manage, or I'm glad I don't even need to know the steps. We don't need to talk about that at all. My kids the other night, they were like, "Dad, you said Sunday's ice cream day, and it's Saturday. So does that mean we're going?" I was like, "I can't tell my kids Sunday's ice cream day ever again," because they don't forget.
They do not forget. They will hold you to it. Yeah.
So we didn't go.
Well, good thing you didn't say it was like weekend ice cream thing. You just said it was one day. Right. It was one day out of the weekend.
I was pretty proud that I went a whole week without eating ice cream. I went from Sunday to Sunday. Then we didn't even go yesterday because they acted like they were 6 and 5, and they are. So tell me a little bit about your early success, if you would even, maybe you don't even define it that way. I don't know. How was real estate getting started for you? And were there ups and downs genuinely? Like, there might be some listeners considering this business. What would you say to them?
Yeah. I think there's ups and downs every single day, every single week, every single month. And really you just have to kind of manage that a little bit. Yes, I'd like it to be a little bit more of a plateau for my business. And I'm hoping that as time goes on, I will get there. Right now it is up and down. Some months I'll have, 3 or 4 closings, and then another month I might only have one.
Right.
I might have none.
Right.
So yeah, you definitely have to, it's like juggling a lot of balls up in the air, and you're always kind of working towards the future, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You're always working towards, okay, what is my next quarter going to look like? What's my next several months going to look like? And how am I going to get there? Right. And so I'm a work in progress, just like everyone else. I mean, I probably should be doing more calling and prospecting that way. But, luckily, this company has given me a great foundation to build off of. And there's a lot of people that I've been able to learn from as well. So I feel like I've developed great skills and a great foundation to keep moving forward.
Yeah. And have there been days, honestly, where you said, I'm not doing this?
Yes.
Yeah. And what,
yes.
Was it because you got calls from your past career, or was it because you just didn't know if you had it in you?
I just didn't know if I had it in me or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does take a special person to do this job every single day to some degree. And there's going to be disappointments. There's going to be people be getting angry at you, and there's going to be people being super, super excited with you. And then there's going to be the call of, we're actually not going to be closing in 3 days because of X, Y, and Z. And so you got to take a deep sigh and realize that sometimes things just happen and they're out of your control. Even though you're doing the best to kind of keep things rolling, it's not working out the way you want it to work out.
And would you consider yourself a controlling person?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife might say differently.
Yeah, there's the real Bryan. I'll have to get her. I got to get Jamie on the show and ask her that. We can actually patch her in on a phone
That's
call.
right. Yeah, let's get her. Let's call her right now. Yeah,
that would be a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a controlling person. I mean, when I think about other people in my life I consider them to be controlling. I think I'm on not that part of the end of the spectrum, but maybe other people might feel differently. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you have a pretty laid back. I would say my perception is you're not.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, because of your professional past where you were in control of so much and having to drive people towards decisions and things like that. If you were this business, you truly can't control.
Yeah.
But in your last one, you couldn't either. I mean, you
absolutely. Because last business with fundraising, you never know. Those people that have clear capacity and capability to do something sometimes don't. And then the people that you would not even think that would be able to make a major gift wind up doing so. It's pretty incredible. So definitely can't judge a book by its cover, for sure. And just like it is in fundraising, same thing it is in real estate. You just never know.
Right.
You really don't.
Right. That's interesting. So what has been, I think I know the answer to this. What's the most difficult thing about real estate?
For me, it's just, having a consistency for clients. That's something that I'm always working towards. And as time is going on, it's getting a little easier. Mm-hmm. But the nice part is, and I think I mentioned this too the other day, that now I have clients from when I first started that are selling their place, right, and have asked me now to sell the home that I initially got them into.
Right.
So that's exciting. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you started too. It was kind of a tumultuous time in our history. And studies have shown that a lot of those people bought and probably shouldn't have, or weren't thinking straight like we all were during COVID. And so you're getting the opportunity to help them a second time.
Yes.
Which is great.
And they might have made more of like an emotional purchase. And now they're at a different point in their life. Right. So, for example, I had a client that I helped them with their home purchase, and now they decided to move all the way up to Maine. That's a huge move.
Yeah, crazy
for certain reasons. And so I really enjoy getting people to the end result, whatever their end result is. That to me is truly exciting.
Yeah, and you probably attract a lot of people like yourself, thankful people in general, so it's probably rewarding.
Yeah, and I've had some clients, especially some first-time homeowner clients, that have just been so thankful and grateful. I can think of one client in particular that they worked about 10 years, 2 jobs, each of them, to save up for their first house, and they chose me help them through that process. And so just as grateful as they were to me, I'm just as grateful to them as well.
That can be a lot of pressure though, can't it?
It is. Oh my gosh, totally.
I could tell by the way you were describing it. You're like, oh, can I pull this off for these people? 20 years worth of devotion.
Gosh, that's a lot. And what if they buy something and they don't like it, because that happens too. And so, would I feel guilty, because of that reason? But so far, everything has turned out pretty well for them. So I still keep in contact with them, which I enjoy doing with my clients. Kind of just keeping in contact with them every once in a while after they buy or sell.
Yeah, that's interesting. If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. Tell me a little bit about Bryan outside of real estate, if there is such a thing. I think there is, but I could ask you some specific questions. Lately, I've been just touched by your and Jamie and your kids' commitment to fostering dogs or cats or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But tell me a little about your connection to the Humane Society.
It's so funny, Tad, because Jamie and I both grew up in a household. We didn't have dogs
at all.
And so I was the holdout several years ago on our first dog. And my kids and my wife were like, that, we want a dog. And all I could think about was, the cleanup and the mess and the responsibility. And after I got through all that, I said, okay, we kind of had I call it a come to Jesus meeting as a family. Mm-hmm. And I finally said, all right, let's, we're going to move forward. Do you know the next day they're at the Grand Chien Humane Society getting
the next day
Apollo? Yeah,
the next day.
This is the dog we're getting, Dad. Great. So from there, it grew into a tremendous love for animals, and the fact that my wife Jamie volunteers at the Grand Chien Humane Society. There's so much need over there. Yeah, and she's been doing that for a while. So now we have 4 dogs, and we've been fostering 1. So we technically have 5 right now.
Goodness. Oh my God! So you're fostering 1 now?
Yeah. Just don't tell my HOA because I think they might not allow that.
Yeah, it's probably not. Probably not. We won't bring that up. We don't support HOAs on this podcast.
Right. Yeah.
So you have. And did you get 4 through fostering? Did you foster and just keep them?
It's called a foster fail. Have you heard of this term before?
No, tell me about that.
So what a foster fail is that you foster a dog, and the fail is that you adopt the dog. See, to me, that's a success.
That is for the dog. Right? For the dog, it's a success.
I mean, who would consider that a foster fail? So anyway, after I kind of get over that term, I'm like, all right, well, let's keep foster failing. So we're at 4 now. I feel like 4 is good as a permanent situation. If we need to foster 1, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 at most, then that would be fine. So that's another reason why too I've been kind of working a little bit more from home to help with that as well.
Yeah, are they all the same kind of dog, or is it all
like 2 are like mixes, and then 2 are medium-sized dogs, like American Bulldog mixes, and then the other one is a wired hair terrier. Okay, and the other one is a toy poodle. Oh my
gosh. And how do you know which ones to keep and which ones to send on their happy way? When do you fail and when do you not fail? That's what
it's when I get a look from the kids or from Jamie and they're like,
oh yeah, this is the one.
What do you think, Dad? Or what do you think, honey? And I'm like, all right. Okay. So it wasn't like that in the beginning though. I really did put up much more of a fight. But like I said, when you go to the Grand Chien Humane Society and you realize how many dogs there are in need, and how people can make a difference in just fostering them, just taking them out of their environment and helping them for a day, a week, a few days, a couple of weeks, because they have limited air conditioning, limited space, and there's just a tremendous amount of people that are just dropping their dogs off for various reasons. Yeah, and they have cats too, but that's at off of 501. They have that in a separate location.
Yeah. That's crazy. So we'll put the link to the Humane Society in the show notes, because I know that some people listening probably. My wife is one that we have.
Yes, she is. Yeah, I know she's a supporter of that as well. Yeah,
we take our kids to walk the dogs sometimes,
awesome.
and it's scary actually, because you don't sometimes when the pets haven't had the attention they need. And I know you're fostering one now. You shared some pictures. It's just so sad what that puppy's been through.
It is, yeah. And, some people aren't very nice, and so, but most people are, and so you take the good with the bad. And this one really needed a good, loving home because it had some injuries, and so we're going to keep it until we can get it back to health.
Yeah. So you'll want to friend Bryan on social media so you can follow that puppy's story. What's his name?
This is Lily.
Lily?
Her name is Lily. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. She's a poodle. She's a poodle. I think she's a purebred poodle. But,
she looks like
some people say she's a Shih Tzu, but I think she's more of a poodle, because we have a toy poodle and she barks just like him, and she looks almost like him, just a different color.
Right. So you guys go to Bryan's Facebook page and find out what you think Lily is. That would be an interesting thing for you to do.
Yeah.
Let's put a vote in. Who thinks Lily's a poodle versus Shih Tzu? That's funny.
Yeah.
And you love to camp.
Yes.
I know your family loves to do that. Tell us where you camp, what you camp in.
So we have the fifth wheel. We've had it for several years. It's been awesome. We'd like to do more of it as time goes on. I eventually want to take it out all the way out west. That would be really cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, we go to
Conway, that far west?
Yeah,
or you mean like out to the Grand Canyon?
I mean like far.
That's awesome.
Let's take 2 weeks and go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome to do something like that? I know that you guys have kind of talked about that at some point too,
we
right?
have as many kids as you have pets, so we're trying to work through that. But yes, that'd be fun. I think it would be. I just tell me to me, like, I don't have a camper, but it's just perfect quality time.
It is.
You throw everybody in a box and you just go.
Right. And my neighbor at the time, when we were thinking about getting a boat versus a camper,
right,
had said, boats are great, but campers can take you many, many more places.
Yeah.
And with your kids at their ages, I think that would be a great investment for you. So Jamie and I went home and kind of talked about it. And within a couple of probably 48 hours, we're like, yeah, we're going to do that. So we went out and we bought a pre-owned RV or travel trailer, and then we graduated to a fifth wheel. But it's been, to your point, it's been great quality family time together. And some of these sites like Carolina Pines have everything they need, you need, basically. You have the water park, you got the miniature golf, you have restaurants, you have cotton candy milkshakes.
There we go. I knew we wouldn't make it through the episode. Have you guys ever heard of such a thing? Like, I'm a milkshake and ice cream expert, and I'd never heard of a cotton candy milkshake before.
They are decadent. Some people love their glass of wine. Some people love their beer. Man, I love my cotton candy milkshakes, and so are my kids. Like, it's just, I don't know, addicting.
Does it literally taste like cotton candy?
It really does. Yeah. And I have to get you up there to taste it in person and just experience it all. But just sitting there and having a nice cotton candy milkshake and the kids having fun is really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. We should have talked about that more. I'm going to leave here. That's not that far. Speaking of out west, we go to Carolina Pines on our way to the Grand Canyon. That's right. Carolina Pines is out in just west of where we live. It's an amazing RV resort. You guys should. They have cabins. They have places you can park your big ones, your small ones. I'm a novice camper, but the cabins we've stayed in those a couple times. Fire pits right beside grills.
Oh, it's awesome.
It is so nice.
It's like it's almost like a resort.
It is like a resort.
It has a resort feel to it, and you kind of don't even feel like you're camping to some degree.
Yeah.
Some people don't even consider it camping. Some people consider camping like going out in the middle of nowhere, and that is a totally different experience.
Yeah, I'm not going to nowhere unless we have to.
Right.
Unless we're forced to, I'm not going to nowhere. But yeah, Carolina Pines is just I guess what I like about that whole atmosphere is it's not stuffy.
Right.
Like, it is nice, ultimately nice, like really nice.
Yes.
But all the people are just salt of the earth kind of people. Most of them are just like us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a culture.
It's a
culture. Community. It really is. It's a community, and you don't realize it until you actually camp or you're in that environment, and you meet other people. Your dogs meet other dogs. You have a commonality for that specific time that you're there.
Yep.
And you're enjoying yourself, and it's like everyone else knows it's quality time that you're spending as a family. Because there's a lot of families, but there's also a lot of retirees too.
Yeah, it's like if you buy a Prius or you buy a Jeep or whatever, you're driving down like I'm in my Jeep and everybody with a Jeep's going to wave. Yes. Everyone's going to wave. You have a Prius, everybody in a Prius is going to wave. So it's the same way with camping. So let's wrap this up. I could talk to you all afternoon. I mean, I cannot believe 30 minutes has already passed. It's been so fast. And I hope you guys are connected to something about Bryan's story that make you want to just make him part of your community. He's part of ours, and we'd love for you to connect to him at some point. But tell me, Bryan, if you have one, what is a good book that you like? Yes. Either on Audible counts too. Like I do that a lot. What's one you've consumed that you really appreciate?
The one I still go back to, Tad, and the one that I've talked about a lot is the Art of the Language Revealed by Thomas Blackwell. I mean, to me, the power of positivity, the power of communication, the power of thinking good thoughts, and I'm putting it in a very simplistic form here. Right. But, you can get into a rut with yourself of negativity. And when you get in that rut, how do you get yourself out of that? And for each person, it's very, very different. But how you talk to yourself and how you talk to other people and how that comes back to you is so important. And not just real estate, but just in life.
Yes. He's referring to Thomas Blackwell. I will put his book in the show notes. We heard him speak.
Yes. Thank you for bringing him, because again, I think that was one of the best speakers that I've experienced so far. And thank you for doing all that. But I know that you got a lot out of it too.
Yeah, it was a great, just a reminder and I've got young children, and I say things in tones that are not helping them grow. For lack of a better way to put it. And I learned a lot from Thomas. And interesting, a week after he was here, I got a handwritten card in the mail. He's called me since then. I mean, this dude's spoken all over the world in lots of countries, national bestseller book. But it would be worth your while. I'm glad you brought that one up. That's a great one. And we like to ask all of our guests at the end of the show, what is something that you do? The whole title of us is Rise Up. Mm-hmm. What's something you do in your life that might help someone to rise above whatever you need to rise above?
Just find your passion, find your interest, and go with it. And even if it's taking yourself out of your comfort zone, it can be a good thing. And that can be personally or professionally. And so, even if you think that, it's just not going to work out, take a chance. There's a very good chance it will work out.
Right. Great advice. It could be as simple as a cotton candy milkshake. Yes. It could be as complex as losing your job during COVID and finding a new passion with your career, raising a kid who's starting to drive and one that working at McDonald's and hanging out with their friends, all of that. Bryan, I appreciate you so much. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hand clap as we exit our show. You've been an amazing addition to Rise Up with Real Estate, and I appreciate you as a friend. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Enjoyed our time. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll put all of his contact information in the show notes if you guys want to reach out to Bryan. Be a nice addition to your group of friends. You guys have a great afternoon, and let us know what we can do to help you rise up. Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.